That's a cockamamie idea. There's no way in hell you can do that. Why are you wasting your time? It was just like, I don't think so. I didn't get upset. I didn't get angry. I didn't feel like somebody mistreated me. But a lot of times in our community, it seems like if you don't go along with my plan and my routine and my get down, you're wrong. You stupid because this is gonna make $1 million, and then 6 months later, you're a millionaire. You're extremely successful. See, I told you. But that is what was in store for you and your future. It may not be in my lane. I may not be mentally equipped to be the boss or to help you run something. And in that point, what I've done is unofficially held you back. So if I just, like in the case of me, if I just listen, if I just participate and support you from afar, I've done far more work than a person who's standing next to you, potentially holding you back. But it seems that a lot of people don't see it that way. And in order for us as a community to thrive, we must start looking at it that way. Everything isn't for everyone. Stop getting angry when someone doesn't support your dream, because their lack of support of your dream may be exactly what you needed to move forward. It's easy to say, oh man, you tripping. People, we don't support each other, but we do support each other all the time and in a million and one endeavors. And maybe it's just not time for me to join your endeavor at that point. You're still my friend, you're still my brother, we're still whatever we are, but it's just not meant for me to join that fight. And we must start adapting that ideology. Because I see people fall out all the time. Oh man, he ain't help, he ain't do. No, it's just not my time. And yeah, okay, if you're going to be a millionaire, see, I told you, okay, you're successful at your endeavor. I will continue to support you. And I'm not just going to be a part of it. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. But this bickering about nothing, it has to stop, people. Just because you think 2 plus 2 is 4, guess what else is 4? 4 ones, 8 halves, so forth and so on. It all goes hand in hand. You don't have to do things at my pace for me to believe that you like, love, and support. That's the natural fact of things. But this anger because, hey man, you're not doing it my way. It's not my life, buddy. It's not my dream, buddy. It's not the way things go for me, buddy. It's just not the way it is. But I can still support you. I can still love you. I can still hang out with you. And then in some cases, it might be that person distancing themselves from you. It might be the person who you really didn't want to help you, who don't join you, and because of their lack of confidence and their negative energy, you excel. So we can be friends and not be business partners. We can be brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles, and not be business partners. Let's get away from that first and foremost. That is a key aspect to our downfall or the uplifting of our folks. Please, let's get the hell away from that. Because, hey, if I did it that way, we'd be bored. It'd be a hard time for me to connect with just about anybody I know. And if you just joined the show, thank you again. Please hit the like button. And if you are unable to enjoy the entire show, you can reach us on a myriad of platforms, which is Spreaker.com, which you're on presently, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Apple Podcasts, and the Himalaya app. Any place that you can get a podcast from, we're connected with. I appreciate you guys for listening, and I'll continue from there. Now, as I played at the top of the show again, the media plays a major role in the destruction of our community. A lot of people, oh no, we do it to ourselves. But you know what? Everybody does it to themselves. But you know the difference in the media does doing its thing, doing things to yourself, and the media assisting in the destruction of your community. You and a lot of a myriad of people can quote things like black on black crime, uh, uh, drugs in the community. You don't hear the drug problems in everybody else's community the way you do in our community. I have a friend who moved here from Nigeria. He said when he first got here, he was afraid of black people due to the teeth. He said he moved here because he used to read Right On magazine, Source magazine, Jet magazine, Ebony, and he thought this country was just as black as his, and he thought this was a prosperous country. When he got here, all he saw on the television was people that looked like him acting a damn fool. So he was afraid of people who looked like him until he started intermingling, and then he let the brainwashing go. When you have a machine like that designed to make you look bad, it creates hate within yourself. Again, if you listen to the top of the show, you hear Brother Malcolm X say the same thing. And when you are living in a society that, for whatever reason, is geared towards your destruction or the mistrust of you, you must circle the wagons and begin to fight, not amongst yourselves, but locking arms and fighting whatever that imagery is that's being put out there about you. No one wants to be seen as a criminal. No one wants to be seen as a miscreant. No one wants to be seen as a devil. But for whatever reason, that's the way my community is painted, and my job is to destroy that image. When you are part of this community, it is your job, whether you live in the inner city, whether you live in an affluent suburb, or whether you're trying to create a middle class, much as myself. It is your job as a member of this community to combat all negative imagery that is put in the world regarding your community. Because I don't know anybody that walks around denigrating their community on purpose. So understand that, hey, there's a propaganda machine out there targeted at you. And when you hear negative things about you, you think about all your great family members, all your great friends who are doing positive things. We all got friends doing negative things as well. I'm not thick enough in the skull to believe that all my people are doing the righteous thing. What I do know is, on average, about 5% of every community that walks the earth is doing bad. But this community that I'm a part of is the only community in which, whenever we do something bad, the drug dealers are representative of in our entire community. The thieves, the murderers, the rapists, they represent our entire community. But I don't see how that's possible. But what's his name? Jeffrey Dahmer didn't represent all white. This dude who runs Korea, who allegedly shot the first COVID-19 victim to death in the street, he doesn't represent all of North Korea, and so forth. Hitler don't represent all of Germans. And we can go down the list. Donald Trump don't represent all white people. So if their worst doesn't represent them, why in the hell would our worst represent us? That is a segment of society that needs to improve. That there will always there will always be negative images. There will always be negative people in our community. So please don't help people in the destruction of our image by saying, but we do it to ourselves. Look, drugs is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And I'm just talking about the illegal form of drugs. I mean, multi-billions and trillions when you talk about legal drugs. But it's not enough people in this country that look like me and you that are addicted to drugs to purchase billions of dollars of drugs. So if drugs is a billion-dollar industry and you only have 44 million people, that would mean all 44 million of us will have to be involved in the drug industry and the drug trade for us to be billions of dollars, to represent billions of dollars in drugs exclusion. That means some of our friends and family members that don't use drugs at all. Some of our family members that don't drink at all. Some of our family members that don't do anything to get up and go to work. They are not even being accounted for. So if you're going to use that as an example, then that means you have zero confidence in your community at all, and you are not part of the community. You're part of the problem. Point blank. Period. Another thing, random acts of violence. The world has been taught that me and you and the people that look like us are innately violent. They don't know how to handle themselves. But somehow, some way, due to this COVID-19 situation, we're all locked in the houses and things of that nature, the random acts of violence have dissipated. Which, if you're just innately violent, you should be killing your family members. You should be killing your cousins. You should be killing your mother. You should be killing the people that's around you during this pandemic, right? But you're not. So one of the reasons I believe is that these acts of violence have dissipated or reduced drastically is, for one, you're not standing outside pumping poison into your body. We have created a drug culture in which, this is just me, people. I don't trust the legalized marijuana to get down unless you're growing it yourself. Because if you poison my food, you damn sure poison my weed. I'm not asking anybody not to get high. I mean, smoke weed, because get high and smoke weed are two different things when you're from Chicago. I'm not asking anybody not to smoke weed. But what I am asking is to realize that the same people that legalized marijuana are the same people back in 1912 that told people that the use of marijuana is going to make people that look like me and you attack and rape white women. That's how they were able to illegalize marijuana, because people from the Latin cultures had control of the marijuana world at that point. So in order to take control of it, they said, hey, if you give it to the brothers are going to rape these white girls. It's illegal, fuck it. Then there you go. So if the same people that did that are giving you marijuana now, I don't trust them. Call me paranoid, but guess what? Paranoid people got enemies too. Another thing, you're not pouring this poisonous alcohol, which I do. I'm not hey, I got a beer. I got some cold beer in the refrigerator now, and I'm going to have a drink after the show. Know that. But we're not standing around putting alcohol, laced marijuana, and some of us use additional aids to entice and enhance our good time. I don't have no judgment for you. I don't have no heaven and hell to put you in. My name ain't God. So do what you want to do, because I'm going to do what I want to do. But I do believe the fact that our young and middle-aged and old people are putting these toxins in their bodies. And next thing you know, you're drinking courage, you're smoking courage, and this something breaks out, and then it could potentially be a hallucinogenic or whatever you're doing. When you're standing around bored, like people saying, I can't stand being around my family this much. Or I don't want to be around somebody this much. So if you're standing around somebody that much and you add toxins and poisons, the chance of a random act of violence due to marijuana-induced courage, alcohol-induced courage, street drugs and pills and lean and all this other stuff induced courage will be enhanced. So how about this? Walk straight and master your high. Shout out to Light of Dark, man. But walk straight and master your high. Don't overindulge. This is also goes into the energy that you surround yourself with. If you're surrounding yourself with people who may not be the best people, but they're fun. From personal experience, if you stand around with a bunch of people long enough, you will have a drink and didn't have any intention or any need or want to have a drink. But they'll say, hey, not to use her as an example, but me and this sister been hanging together for more than 30 years. Irene, who's in the chat room, will walk up to me, B, give me $10. We finna get something to drink. I'm giving it to Irene without even thinking. Okay, here. And then I'm finishing my conversation. Irene go get some drinks and we having a good time. But because we were raised together and we have a different energy, we don't have to worry about those acts of violence. But what about the people that's just hanging around like at barbershops.